Today is Tuesday, October the 11th. Call special call meeting to order. At this point, there is no quorum. Columbia and myself in attendance. It requires two more council members to have a quorum. So I'll give it a little bit more time. We'll see what happens. Well, so we hear people out in the hallway, but
They so wrong.
Mr. Everly is present. Good evening. The two unopposed guys. We'll get one more. It's just pulled up, so. Okay. No longer. Senator Davis.
Yeah, she just pulled up. She should be out there. Yes, I didn't see him. I just.
So. One more person, we have a few hours of business for me. 10-2. Still not have anything. All right. 3 more minutes. It's 12 after 6. 6:15 is generally about how long we give. But we only need one more. No people out. Davis made it. You can pause that for me. Ms. Davis, if you're ready. Are you ready? We go ahead and start. You make a point. We can go ahead and start. It's about 6:15. So we'll start with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who have sinned to us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start. We report Miss Ramsey fell ill this morning. It's my understanding she's back home resting, and we wish her well. And I'm glad to see Mr. Valley here.
Good evening, man.
So we haven't called me to work, I will, actually get a roll call. Ford. Franklin. St. Columbia. President. Crockett. Davis. Heatherly. Fallon.
I'm here. Yeah, yeah, you don't take it on the road, okay.
All right, the first item on the agenda is the Hope Church Fall Fest, Pastor Quay Duvall, location 527 East Ball Street. Pastor Duvall, I'm not sure if he's here to present the permit was emailed to you by Ms. Ramsey.
Does it have all the signatures?
It has all the required signatures and no one is opposed to it that I'm aware of.
It's a block off.
This is East Ball, 527 East Baldwin Street. So it would be that block of Baldwin. And the reason is because they have a park area that the church uses right across from the parking lot, and they have a lot of children and pedestrians across.
It's gonna be Fifth Street as well.
The only one, I don't have a copy of it. The one I'm aware of is the corner there with Baldwin,
Oh, man.
but it was emailed out in the packet. Just don't have a copy of it. Any questions? No, I'm sorry.
Those from Sandy or?
Miss Sandy, yeah, so she emailed it out to everybody. So I don't know if you can find it,
Do you recall the date?
the date that she emailed it.
No, the date of the event.
No, I don't, and I don't have a copy of it, so. I'm gonna wait and see if anybody can pull it up. October 24th is what. It was just texted to me.
October 24th is the date of the event.
Mhm. And I do know that, my impression was that he was planning on attending. He may not have known he was supposed to attend. I'm not sure. But,
We're videoing, excuse me, just a second. We're videoing and there's audio. Let the minutes reflect Ms. Crockett, Mr. Franklin, as well as Ms. Ford are now present within the meeting. Go ahead, man.
all right, so the question for the council is a Hope Church Fall Festival permit for the 527 East Baldwin block by Pastor Quay Duvall on October 24th, and all the signatures and the department has approved it. It was sent to you, but it's not copied or printed out. Miss Ramsey had an issue this morning. She's at home resting, so our packet is not, the printed packet's not going to be completed. Ms. Davis moves adoption of the event permit for Hope Church Fall Festival. Is there a second? Mr. Crockett seconds the motion. Any comments or questions about the motion? And this is resolution number
Yeah.
10.
And I got a question too, Mr. This is not for this meeting. We had an agenda set for this.
On the top.
This wasn't on the past agenda. We moved everything from last agenda to this agenda. This is not on this agenda. We already had the stuff from the last agenda to move on to this one because you was not here. And this is a new item. This is not supposed to be on this agenda. And
Ms. Ramsey's not here to answer your questions, so I don't know. All I can tell you is that it was sent out. There were no objections when it was sent out.
But if you let me
48 hours.
if you let me finish, Mr. Mayor, this was not she couldn't send you nobody in the agenda. We already had the stuff that was left over from the last meeting. And I understand they need their permit granted, but next Tuesday is a regular council meeting. This is a council meeting just to handle all the stuff that we hadn't been able to handle. This here is a new item. I mean, and I feel like, like we got this dozer repair, that's not on, all that we were supposed to handle is the distillery, and some more stuff. And every time we come, we get new things, and we're trying to handle all the old stuff before we handle new business. That's just me. That's what I thought we was here for. And this is certainly a new item.
I think I spoke with Ms. Ramsey Monday, and I asked her this distinct question. Mayor, you missed the beginning of last week's meeting. They tabled many of the things, they tabled to next week. And I asked her when she was doing the agenda, she said, well, I can correct it. But of course, she had the event this morning, so I don't know what she corrected. We still have the agenda that she emailed, because the council tabled much of the things. And when you came, you didn't address which ones were urgent or not. So she put them on there for what she informed me, was she put everything on here just because you were requesting something that was time sensitive and didn't know whether it could wait till next Tuesday. And so she wanted to have a discussion with you today. This is my discussion with her yesterday, as to which ones were time sensitive, which one were not, because she was aware also that much of the stuff was tabled to next week. But I don't know if y'all ever had that discussion, and that's how we have the commingled things, Mr. Franklin and others, add to the agenda. So I don't know what you all want to address, but the mayor's office had some things that may have been very time sensitive that he was trying to address, and I don't know what they are.
The only thing I would say is I don't think there's any objection to Pastor Duval's permit. I'm not exactly sure why it's on the agenda, but it is, and we've already spent more time talking about it than we probably should have. Are there any other questions about the motion to approve the permit?
I understand what Mr. Franklin is saying, because it is a special call meeting, and we're only supposed to discuss certain items, and some things we said that we would discuss at the next regular meeting. This is not a regular meeting.
Well, I think it's worth saying so that we don't end up here again. I don't mean to drag this out longer, but procedurally, meetings are either general or either regular or special. The code sets out special meetings, and this is for everybody sitting at the council table as a council person. If the council calls a meeting, we have to have at least 3 signatures, and we set the agenda in the notice. If we don't go through that process, I don't care what we talked about, it's still not our meeting because we didn't call it. You understand? We got to pass around the thing. You got to get 3 council people to sign it. You got to set the agenda on the notice. If we don't do that process, I mean, we do it all the time. We say, let's meet next week and have us, but it's not our meeting unless we do that ordinance process. If we don't do that process, then it's the mayor's meeting and it's his agenda. And so I think.
But more specifically, just to say, just legally what was that saying. Special call means a call by 2 ways. Either the mayor calls it, sets the agenda, or 3 city council members call it, and they have to do so in writing and set the agenda.
Set the agenda.
And so,
Okay.
and so,
So question before the body is the permit for Pastor Duval. And there was a motion and a second. What would you like to do to proceed?
I do not have I don't have it's not, I can't find it in my email. I've never seen it before. And so I don't even know what the other is.
Anybody else? Yeah, I'm looking at the people that made.
I didn't see it. But I did not see it.
So do you want to proceed with the motion or not? Ms. Crockett, also second to the motion, permit. So that leaves Ms. Davis's motion to approve the permit. Ms. Davis removes hers. So we will pass over the permit for Hope Church Fall Festival and put it
Next
on,
week's meeting, Mayor.
we'll put it on the regular meeting and I mean, I did not ask for it to be on the agenda, but I don't have an objection to it either. I think it'll be a good event. We will put it on the next item on the agenda we'll pass over that so we can get to the Delta Dark Distillery issue and come back to it if you want to. A resolution regarding Delta Dark Distillery tax back program 1615-427-06D of the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003 is in your packet. Ms. Valley, you want to present this or not?
This is a resolution that was provided to the city about tax credits relating to Delta Distillery. And it is for them to participate in the tax back program. The local business must endorse to participate in the tax back program. And so the city council would have to adopt this resolution. Delta Distillery will be endorsed by the city council for benefits of sales and use tax refund as provided in section 2706D of the Consolidated Initiative Act of 2003. But it has to be the Department of Finance Administration authorized to refund local sales tax to Delta Distillery if you adopt this. So all it takes is a motion, a second, and a vote for you to do.
Mr. Franklin moves adoption of resolution number 10. Resolution of the City Council of Helena-West certifying local government endorsement of Delta Dark Distillery Incorporated to participate in the tax back program as authorized by the state. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Davis seconds the motion. Just a second here. Any questions or comments about the motion? If not,
Businesses get into this same program as well.
they can certainly apply to these. If they meet,
I think
they
this,
meet certain criteria.
I think this would be something worth to advertise, or other business in the city could get onto this as well. I think the city hall should let them know something about it so more people can get the local taxes back.
Well, I would encourage anybody who might be interested to go to the State of Arkansas government website, Department of Economic Development, which is under the Department of Commerce for economic incentives. And there's a whole list of incentives that includes this incentive, which involves city sales taxes and tax back programs. But we are eligible for a lot of incentives in Helena, West Helena, and Phillips County. So it's a good point. Any other questions or comments? All right, I'm going to call the roll. Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Ms. Crockett,
Yes.
Mr. Franklin, Mr. Etherly, Ms. Ford.
Yes.
The next
Motion
item
passes.
is we didn't get the resolution number on that, but we'll have 11. For resolution number 12 would be a resolution of City Council to authorize the mayor to execute administrative contract with East Arkansas Planning and Development District for the administration of AEDC Block Grant Program for Community Development Project to renovate the West Helena Library at 721 Plaza for the establishment of a Children's Safety Center.
First of all, before we do this, have
Yes, sir.
we don't even have ownership of the building yet. The county had released the building back to us to say we own it. So how can we do anything with it when we have, this body hadn't received anything from the county, letting us know that they're giving us our property back? We haven't received anything. So how can we proceed on something that we don't have no information about? I think we're moving a little too fast. We need to get something from the quorum court that they've given us the building back. We have nothing. So if we're going to get started on something and we have no information about, and then secondly, if we gonna get somebody a building when our police department's out here at the county, and we could have renovated that building in West Helena and put the police department out here instead of paying rent somewhere else. So it's several things we should look at before we decide to give some property away that we paying rent at a building and we own the building and we want them to give our building back. So it's several things. Number one, let me be clear. I have not received, and I don't think anybody at the table have received anything saying that the county has given us the Phillips County Library back on Plaza Street, back to the city. And two, before we try to give that away, we should have seen if we can renovate that building and put our police department in that building to keep them from going way out there so they can be in the town, in the community. So it's taking them longer time to get to Walmart and to Plaza Street when they were out in the county. So there are several things to look at before we try to give something away. That's just me saying we don't have ownership of it. I think it's something you should look at.
What this does is allow the East Arkansas Planning Development District to write a grant, not to give away the building, but for renovation of the building for the use of the Children's Safety Center. It is owned by the city and continues to be owned by the city. It was leased by the county library. They relinquished their lease and a letter to the city, and the city's always owned it. It was just leased by the Phillips County Library. So the city still owns the building. It has always owned it since it was the city of West Helena and they built it. But the lease is no longer active and it's no longer being used. And if you drive by it, you can see that it's in a state of disrepair. The Economic Development Commission has a community block grant program, and the grant writers at East Arkansas Planning Development District want to write a grant to help us get money as a city to fix the building up and improve it so that it would be eligible for a children's safety center, which we do not have in Phillips County. And your approval is required before they can submit the grant. So that's what this is. It's your approval on behalf of the city to apply for CDBG monies to renovate the building. We already own the building.
So you're saying two things. Listening to what you said, you said they are wanting to write grants. Have they obtained a grant?
They can't obtain it until we authorize them to apply for it on our behalf.
Yes, sir. So they can wait until we get something from the county so we can have in front of us to say, hey, they're relinquishing their rights and they're giving it back to the city until we don't have it.
They never owned it.
But we enter into a lease with them, just like you enter into a lease with the people at the Armory, the Helena-Armory. They use it every day, but we don't know nothing about it. We need to have concrete proof that because see, the building is they gutted the building out when they got all the books and stuff out. So they're gonna give us back a gutted building that they had in their possession. It was damaged while they had it in their possession, and they're gonna give it back to us, and we're gonna let somebody else apply for some grants to get it fixed. What are the stipulations of that building? Was they supposed to give us back when they gave us back the building? Was it supposed to give it back to us in mint condition, the same condition? We got a building back that they had gutted it out, and AC units been stolen, copper wires, everything is out of the building. So before we do that, you should have provided us with some information about, do we have A, B, C, and D? We have nothing. You're telling us something, but we don't have nothing from the Quorum Court saying that they giving this building back to us. We have nothing. We got his word of mouth. You have to show proof that we have gotten this building back.
The state would have to demonstrate proof that the city owns the building in order to release the grant funds. The city does own the building, always has owned the building. So it's really immaterial. All this does is authorize East Arkansas Planning and Development District to submit a grant to the Community Development Block Grant Program for the state of Arkansas to get the monies to renovate the building for use as a children's safety center. And that's all it does, is authorize them to submit a grant. If for some reason it turned out the building didn't belong to the city, then it wouldn't matter, but it does belong to the city. And the other issues you mentioned are issues, and they're great questions, but it's not relevant to this particular question before the council.
Are there going to be any other costs associated with the operations of the Children's Safety Center by the city?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Any cost? What other costs would be associated with operating a children's safety center related to the city?
Well, it would be up to the city to negotiate something with the Children's Safety Centers of Arkansas. If and when they actually occupied it, but at this point, our children have to go to Brinkley or Forest City if they are victims of or alleged victims of sexual. If they're I'm trying to say physical abuse or sexual abuse victims and their children, then at this point, what we're supposed to do is take them to Brinkley or Forest City. They're often closed, especially in Forest City. By having a children's safety center here in Phillips County, then all law enforcement and state officials, including DCFS and many others, could use the same facility. The Arkansas Children's Safety Centers, which operate the Lonoc office, has agreed to take Phillips County on, but we don't have a facility. So this would give us that facility, and then at the appropriate time, we would have to bring all that before the council for you to decide. But right now, it's about rehabilitating the building so that it would be suitable for a children's safety center. And the architect with the Children's Safety Centers of Arkansas has agreed to consult with grant writers from East Arkansas Planning and Development to make sure it is conducive to what they would need. But the long and the short of it, what it does for us is provide our children access to our victims of physical child and sexual abuse to services that they do not presently have here in Phillips County. Meanwhile, that building is just rotting over there and not being used. Mr. St. Columbia.
This resolution, Mr. Mayor, and all it does is establishes the first step moving forward towards that goal.
It doesn't guarantee funding. It doesn't guarantee anything.
but-
It just allows them to write the grant.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt resolution number 11-2022. That number 11.
Mr. St. Columbia makes a moves, adopts resolution number 11-2022 to make East Arkansas Planning and Development District a grant administrator for the city of Helena-West Helena regarding a CDBG grant to the state of Arkansas for renovation of the West Helena Library. Is there a second? A long title. Mr. Ethley seconds the motion. Any other questions about the motion? I'll call it. Davis?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do two jobs here, Ms. Crichton. Go ahead.
Okay, will it be any cost to the city to, for them to write the grant? Will we be paying them or?
No. We pay them through our dues. Member dues. They also get an administrative fee for any grants awarded. I think that it's equal to something like 4% if it's awarded. And then we pay dues, which is what, and then they're also funded by the Economic Development Administration and the Delta Regional Authority to write grants on that. Some, not all grants, but these CDBG grants are one of the grants they write. Any other questions?
Yeah, I just would like to see that we should have had something from the county. Saying that they no longer want to have access to the building. Because what if we get this thing going and they pop up and say, we haven't given anything back to you. They have an attorney over there, should have sent our attorney something, let us know, hey,
They did all that a couple of years ago. They didn't want to continue leasing it. They haven't actively used the building for years. So I asked them to put it in writing. They did put it in writing. All they did was say that they were no longer gonna going to
yes, sir.
use the lease of the building, but the city has always owned it
But
and will continue to own it until such time as you sell it or give it to somebody else. And the other thing is they're not going to give money to renovate a building that we do not own.
I
We
understand.
do own it. The question is, do you want to renovate the building or not?
My question, but
That's the
your
question. Do you
question.
want to do it with grant
I
funds
just-
from the federal and state government, or do you want to just
We
argue
don't,
about.
we don't have to argue about it. I'm only asking a question. You say you have it. The city council's over property. So I have not seen that. You may have seen it. I just asked a simple question. It's not about an argument.
And
If
I
you-
answered it, didn't I?
No, you didn't, because
Yes, I did.
Mr. City Attorney, have you received anything from the county saying that we've gotten possession of this building back? That's all I'm
We never
asking.
lost.
I
possession.
didn't, if we lease something out, just like that equipment that we let somebody use on Y Road that we have no knowledge of, I'm trying to see, do we have anything from the county saying that, hey, they want us to they're giving out, but not, well, giving us the right to our building back.
I haven't seen the document the mayor's talking about them not wanting to renew the lease. It's my understanding the city does own it and has been used by the county for purposes of a library. As it relates to the mayor is correct in the sense grant will not be approved without proof that the city owns it. And that there are no liens or anything that you won't have the funding for. The other issue that you addressed, the city council is exclusively in charge of real estate. By voting this, you're authorizing the mayor's office to contract with the East Arkansas Planning for the development of this particular purpose. So it covers both. It covers you all duty as being in charge of real estate, and you authorize the mayor into a contract to have East Arkansas Planning to develop it as a children's safety center.
Thank you. And that's all I was asking, and maybe he didn't understand, but thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, I'll call the roll. Davis? St. Columbia?
Yeah.
Crockett?
Yes.
Franklin? Heatherly?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Resolution 11 passes. The next one's related to it. Be resolution 12. And well, you have to also have a public hearing. We posted the notice, I think it was 7 or 8 or 10 different places in town, online and in other ways. We held the public hearing for people to have an opportunity to get input. We've certified all of that. And what this resolution does is further allow me to submit that on behalf of the city to for our ACEDP grant funds through the Delta Regional Authority's Economic Development Program, which is the same thing I just described.
Yes, this is resolution authorizing chief elected official, which is the mayor, to sign the application for CDBG funds. As it's stated in here, the public hearing has been conducted. The citizens participation plan, the community development plan has received and been considered. All comments have been considered. As a result, the community development plan activity of the city of Helena-West Helena has identified and prioritized community development housing needs. And so what the council is resolving is that the mayor, Kevin Smith, has authorized on behalf of the city of Helena-West Helena to submit an application to the state of Arkansas for grant funds under community development provisions of the Arkansas Community and Economic Development Program to spend funds to accomplish such community development activities if the grant is awarded. Ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Valley. Any questions about resolution number 12?
That's the resolution number
12.
12.
Is there a motion to adopt?
I so moved.
Mr. St. Clement moves adoption of resolution number 12. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Etherly seconds the motion. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do 2 jobs here. Any other questions or comments about the motion? If not, I'll call the roll. Davis, St. Columbia,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
Franklin, Etherly,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Motion passes. And
Ms. Ramsey has the packet. We had, there were approximately 6 or 7 ordinances that were prepared for the waiving of competitive bidding. When I met with her, There are only 3 that need to be considered for waiving the competitive bidding. The other 4 at the bottom are over the mayor's spending limit, and you all could do those without an ordinance. The ordinances are in Ms. Ramsey's office. She has the copies of all of them. But we don't have them here on the table, but they're all waiving competitive bidding. But more particularly, the 2 involving water, one is the amount of lift truck, boom cylinder, $7,144.02. That doesn't need an ordinance. It's below 7,500, does not require competitive bidding. If you also approve that, you could just vote to do so, and the mayor be authorized to make that purchase. The Dexter Thornton Inc. SCADA system, that's only $5,251.24. That's above 5,000, but below 7,500, so it does not require bidding. That's just a motion for you all to approve it. Lucky Pump and Well Pump 5, $5,907.33. It's the same there. It's below 7,500, but it's above 5,000. So that could be accomplished by merely a vote. And the Sanitation River City Hydraulics Pump for the garbage truck, $5,065.78. Those all can be accomplished by vote. You can do them separately, or you can, if you also choose, want to do it quickly, you can do a motion to include all 4 of those items I just read. I don't know how you all want to do it, whether y'all want the mayor to provide any information. I yield to the mayor on those issues. The other 3, the ordinances are on waiving competitive bidding.
None of these things have been repaired.
I don't know.
I'm asking,
Well, I'm looking at some of these. The pump for the garbage truck was, I believe the Lucky Pump on well number 5 was the pump repair bills. I'd have to defer to Mr. Scoggins about. But I didn't have Mr. Scoggins attend because my major concern was the fuel bill. And when it turned out not to be on the agenda, I told him he didn't show up. So we can bring these up Tuesday if you want more, if you want to ask him more detailed questions about it. I know that we had a sewer backup on Airport Road that was pretty serious. That he's concentrated a lot of time on. I know that the pump for the garbage truck, took it out of commission, and I know they got that work done. Some of this, I would have to defer to Mr. Scoggins. That answers the question. We can put this on Tuesday's agenda as far as I'm aware, and wait your direction.
I really want to know what's been repaired before it seems like it's happening again, that you repair stuff and then want us to clean it up. I'm just asking a question.
No.
I didn't actually request these items be put on. The main thing I put on the agenda was the fuel, or wanted to put on there was the fuel bill.
Just for sake of the council and artists, Ms. Ramsey was aware of these and she had these put here, but she did so. She just texted me and said that it's fine for you all to discuss it Tuesday. When she'll be able to be here. She's watching via Zoom, but she's feeling a little better. She's watching via Zoom. But the issues you all can table until Tuesday is when you all can discuss them all. But all the ordinances have been prepared before them, don't even need ordinances. It's just a matter of you all getting an explanation and determining whether you want to approve it.
Any other input?
So by acclamation, are you all saying just put it on the next agenda? We'll just move on and add those to the next agenda. Mayor, I yield back to you.
I'm trying, speaking with Sandy, I'm trying to do her job too over here while she's. So I guess at this point, we'll go back up to the agenda. The only other thing that before we get to Meals on Wheels would be the dozer rental agreement and also the, so just to give you an update, since the last time they have continued to rent the dozer and it's a little bit over $5,000 a week. The last time we discussed it was a special call meeting and was not on the agenda. And so we couldn't discuss it. And so the direction I got was to bring it up to the next possible meeting. Today or yesterday, we received detailed estimates from Caterpillar on what it would take to get what's covered by the warranty and what's not, and what it would take to get our own dozer back up and running, so we no longer have to rent it. Those items would have to be approved by this body, I think, to move forward on.
I thought y'all told us the dozer was down, that it was under warranty. I was just waiting on them to get back with the price. So now you're saying it's gonna have to be some money spent?
Some of it's under warranty and some of it's not, and I just got the estimate.
And we were told that the tracks came off the dozer and it was a warranty issue. We needed to rent it for just a week until they figured out what was the next step. And here we are now saying that we got a cost. This body asked, was there any additional cost? We were told that once the tracks got put on, if we approved it, it would take about a week. And we did it. And now, so can somebody be specific and say what else is going on with the dozer? Is the tracks off or what else? Because we were told that the tracks came off and it was under warranty and we need to rent one until they got it fixed, which would be $5,000, which
some of it is under warranty and some of it, the claim isn't. I haven't, we just got the estimate and don't have it in time for your approval tonight, but I am making you aware about the rental agreement because the last time we discussed it, we couldn't because it was a special called meeting. It wasn't on the agenda. So I'm just bringing that to your attention because I don't want to.
The last week they approved it for another
week.
For another week.
But it's been
So it's been a week.
So it's been another
One-
week.
I guess one of the practical questions.
It's on the agenda because if it's not, we can talk about it.
Right.
The last week.
For 2 weeks or 1 week.
I think it was just for 1 week. But I
Now
think
it's been another week.
I think the practical problem is the council has not been presented with actually how long it's going to take to prepare this. And we're discussing it and we're doing week after week after week and week. Nor has, I understand you just getting it, but the council hadn't been provided with a copy of the estimate for what it's going to cost to repair it. Because we're still in the city's still in the holding pattern. And so realistically, I guess that what the council would be asking, if I was on the council, I'd be asking, okay, how much longer do we need to rent it so we can quit going back week to week? And how much is actual repairs so we can get that repaired, or if it needs bidding, get it bidded. And I think those are the practical questions that y'all have this evening so you can resolve the issue.
Well, the issue of the estimate for repair didn't make it in your packet in time for you to consider it at a special meeting. It'll be there for Tuesday's consideration. And between now and then, unless you approved it for more than 1 week last week, I'm just bringing it up for your consideration tonight for another
Well,
week.
Actually, if you have time to go get it, the agenda specifically said repair of cost of the dozer and continuation. If you have time to get it and read it for the record, it would, you all can discuss it in detail this evening. I'm not trying to run your meeting, but I would just say, giving you an opinion, legal opinion
I
that,
can go get that, but just so you know, we just got it and I might not have answers to some of your questions.
understand.
Just saying, but it's up to you. I can go get it if you want to try to approve it tonight, but I don't have, I I might not have all the answers to your questions is all I'm saying, Ms. Crockett.
Well, this is my question. If you already have it, why we just can't get it so that we can look at it, so we can be prepared to, why
can.
hold it until the next meeting and then put it on the table and expect us to do something? That's been the miscommunication all the time. All you had to do was just give us this and tell, well, this is for y'all to look over so that we'll be able to make a decision and not wait till the last minute if you already got it.
Well, I'm not waiting to the last minute. That's the reason it's not in your packet tonight, because it was we just got it. So
That's what I'm saying. You got, all you had to do was make 6, 7 copies. Said this is not for y'all to make a decision on. This is for y'all to look at. So that when we come back to discuss it, we've been able to go over it.
yes, ma'am, but the people that normally do your packets and make copies and all that, we're not here today. So we got them today,
So that's above your pay grade,
but
below your pay grade.
But well, I can't do everybody's job, Ms. Crockett, but I am telling you about it now that we have it. And I'm also letting you know, since it is on the agenda, that unless you did something differently that I'm not aware of, you would need to approve another week's worth of rental for us to get to Tuesday. And we'd have to do that anyway. And then next Tuesday, hopefully those answers, more will be learned about the estimate and answers to whatever questions you have. And we could definitely send it out to you probably tomorrow. It didn't
Well,
make
give
it,
us a
it didn't make it in time today for your packet.
No, I didn't mean, could he go get it and you make some copies? Cause
Oh, certainly, I can make some copies. That's no issue.
If you know something is going on, inform us, because here we are again.
I did inform you. That's exactly what I'm doing.
You good at walking out, ain't you?
Let's go and get the copies.
But it's the city attorney, this is another thing that I got with that library. We gave them a building in good condition, and we get it back, somebody's gotta do some work on it.
I'd have to look at the lease.
But again, we just got them, and you require certain notice on these items, and you haven't been given enough notice because we just received them. And, but you do know about the rental agreement, and that's the reason it's on the agenda. So what would you like to do about the rental agreement in the meantime? Any questions about the rental agreement?
Codex of 922, balance at 1022
For the record, can you say a little louder? So
Mr. Franklin, it's the only thing that's relevant,
September 22nd.
no, I didn't receive it September 22nd. And the only thing that's relevant is when did we get it? And if you want to go ahead and vote on it tonight, be my guest. I would love for you to do that. Get right ahead. So these are your rules mainly that we're trying to honor. Well, I mean, the next item on the agenda, or do we want to do anything on the rental or not? That's what's on the agenda. On the dozer that's operating the landfill.
Yeah, we want to continue. We've got to have a dozer out there.
We have to have a dozer to operate the landfill. That's correct.
So what do you need for that? Is a motion?
It's over $5,000.
It's not over 75, right? Ain't that what Mr. Bell said?
It's not over 75. But it is over 5, and y'all have been approving it on a weekly basis, which is fine with me, as long as, you have an
We need
opportunity.
to continue the use of the dozer. If necessary, I'll make a motion that we continue renting the dozer till we get ours repaired.
So Mr. St. Columbia, let me catch up with everybody. St. Columbia makes a motion to approve another week's lease for the rented dozer at the landfill. Continuation of it another week until at least next Wednesday. Is there a second? What did he say?
He just said continue renting. But you said for a week, so that
Well,
sounds
I
better.
mean, I'm saying we can make it,
No, that's more specific.
we've been doing it weekly. That's something. I'll do it more than that if you want to.
No, a
Then we
week is,
don't have to
a
discuss
week
it.
is fine. It needs to be specific because we need to find out about the repair.
So Mr. St. Columbia, this, it would be resolution 13, makes a motion to approve the rental agreement for an additional week. Mr. Everly, second the motion. Any questions or comments about
Is
this?
that the week that we're in, or is this the week? next week?
I believe it starts on Wednesday, so it would be, it would,
Wednesday to next week.
right. It's Wednesday or Thursday, I haven't.
And the cost is?
It's about 6,000, I remember.
Mhm. For a week it is.
Any other questions about the motion?
What week,
Ms.
is,
Franklin?
is this week number 3 for the dozer?
It's 3 or 4. I'd have to go back. I'd have to go back and look.
I think when we were here, we approved on that Tuesday, we approved until tomorrow. So, yeah, because you know, she answers when we approve it, and you know, and still, my only question is this, and not to drag it out, but what else is going on with it? What is not under warranty?
Well, that's what's being copied and that's, I told you I wouldn't have some of the answers as I haven't had a chance to review it or talk to the repair folks about the estimate, what's covered, what's not, why it's not, and all those questions that you would rightly have. I don't have the answer to yet because I just got it myself.
So this has been since 9/22, but you just got it today.
I just got the estimate today to look at and for y'all to look at. That's
So-
right. And I have not asked this question.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Mr. Franklin, I appreciate,
I'm
I
just-
appreciate your
all I'm
questioning
saying-
and your sort of,
I'm just asking the
But
question because my only
it
thing is
was-
this. When they came out,
I haven't held on to it since September
Mayor,
22nd.
that's-
That's your
we
question.
passed it.
That's when they got the
Okay.
equipment to
Yes, sir.
review it.
but we passed.
That's not how long we've had an
I-
estimate to
We,
fix it.
we passed it. What I'm asking is this, do you have, take a breath. Do you have, did they give you a diagnostic when they came out to look at it? You know, because before they took the dozer, they give us a diagnostic on the machine. That's, I mean, I'm just asking a question because we're gonna pay for something that is going into the week number 4. The reason why I'm asking is because we were told that the tracks were covered. Now, when they came out and took you said they got the dozer with them. So when they came out to do a diagnostic, did they not say, well, this is what's going on? Because all we were told is it's the tracks. Now, I'm not trying to cross you up or nothing. I'm just asking questions because I want to know. Because when they pick up something, they do a diagnostic test on it. They say, hey, this is what's going on. All you knew is what your department head told you is that, hey, the tracks are off, right?
Are you through?
I just asked you a question. That's all.
There's a motion on the floor to approve rental agreement for an additional week. The second, any other questions or comments? All right. Call the roll. I'm not used to being part of this. Ms. Davis. Mr. St. Columbia.
Yes.
Ms. Crockett. Mr. Franklin. Mr. Etherly.
Yes.
Ms. Ford.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, the next item on the agenda, Mr. Franklin, funding for Meals on Wheels for Dogs.
The last,
recognized.
yes, the meeting before that you weren't here, you said it, once we passed that, you would get with Meals on Wheels and you would handle this, so it's out of my hands. You said that you'd be able to work something out. You said that to us, so I'm just giving it back to you. You said that you would take care of it, so I'm waiting on, I'm taking your lead, and I hope that you can provide what she's asking for, because you said the solution to it, because you told us that if we did something with the shelter, that you go from here. So I'm just waiting. I'm throwing it back to you to tell you, have you got with her and provided a cost than what you want to pay?
I haven't actually seen the veterinary bills.
I can provide them to you. I tried to provide them to you, but you walked out.
I'm not saying you didn't. I just haven't seen them. And if you want to make a motion to approve those expenditures and they're in compliance with audit rules, then we have the money, we'll pay them.
Well,
And I haven't spoken I've spoken with him. I do think that there's a longer term possibility that Meals on Wheels could be a nonprofit that works with animal control on some of these issues, and that there could be some mutual that we can work together. So I don't think there's any cross purposes, but I think it needs to be coordinated. And I think they can offer services on behalf of the city. The issue of the veterinary bill for the things that have already been done, I'm gonna leave that up to you. So if you feel like that's an appropriate expenditure and it meets, every other requirement that we're required to do under expenditures, like, I don't know is it over $5,000?
Well, I asked you specifically about two people that were going to donate toward the animals. You said that you would contact them.
Who are you talking about?
I talked about John Edwards, and I'm talking about Walmart. And
Have you approached them?
I asked you and you said you would do it last week. No, I have not approached him. I asked you and you agreed to do it. What is your
I
response?
also said that I've already talked to them and approached them, but I haven't.
But that's.
I
not what we
received-
said
I haven't
at the last
received-
Meeting, Mayor. We
I haven't-
said that we would,
Yeah.
you said that you would do it. That, if you didn't do it, fine.
And I'll still follow up with Walmart. But also Meals on Wheels has talked with them too. But you haven't talked to either one of them.
I asked you, you didn't ask me.
I was just making sure
no,
because
No,
we need to work together to solve these problems.
And that would I.
It's not a
you asked
gotcha.
me,
It's
then
not,
would've
I got
asked
you.
That, and I'm just asking.
I got
you to
something on
respond.
you. I'm
That's all.
trying to make some political stunt or something. It's about trying to fix the city
No,
and going forward. And you're
I
trying
asked you-
to put me on the
No,
spot
I'm not.
when you haven't talked to them yourself about it.
I didn't, you didn't ask. me to talk to
Meanwhile,
him.
Mr.
What I
Franklin
asked you at the
asked
last meeting
to do
you
this.
sat there and agreed. That's the only thing I'm saying. And all you gotta do is say, I didn't get a chance to, I did whatever. The reason was, no, I didn't. That's the only thing that I'm asking for, and you're making it to be something else.
Yeah.
You didn't ask me to call them. If you had, and I asked.
Do I need
specifically,
to?
Mayor, would you call them? You said that you would talk to them. You did. Or I don't guess you did, because I just asked you and you didn't, and this is the response that you gave me.
The response is the same one I gave you before.
and that was
I've
nothing.
talked to
Okay.
Mr. Edwards many times about it. I've made calls to Walmart
But you didn't say that the last time. You said that you would do it.
and I still am doing, still working on it. But this is a special call meeting.
But that's all you had to do is say, I'm
This-
still working on it, but you went into
But-
something else. That's,
But the question you posed to me, as I understood it, was not about the veterinary bill. Mr. Frank, maybe I was.
that's what we were talking
Maybe I
about.
missed. So you want Walton and Mr. Edwards to pay the veterinary bill? Is that specifically what you're asking?
We were talking about how could we get this money to help this lady with these bills that she had incurred. And I said that there was two people that said they had pledged. And I asked you, would you talk to them to see if we could use those funds? You said that you would do it.
Who told you they had pledged funds?
Right here at this table,
Who told you that?
Mr. Franklin.
And you agree as well, right?
And then you saying now that Mr. Franklin is saying getting it from the general fund. That's not what you said. You said the two people.
And then.
And you were gonna
I
talk to
said
those
what?
two, you were gonna talk to those two people.
And watch this.
That
So
was
let
one-
me
just
make sure
donate.
let me make sure I understand something. The city council would prefer to pay Meals on Wheels bill from funds with the help of people, including Mr. Edwards and Walmart,
Yes.
but not from general fund?
Watch this. You
Yes
said-
or no?
No,
I mean, I
no.
need clear,
You took.
is that what you want? Is that what you want?
And you told
Yeah,
her.
No,
that's
that's
my
what you
question.
said you were gonna do.
Well, if we can
What's-
get grant money to pay it, why not? If we can get somebody.
If we
to
can
pay
get
it,
funded.
I didn't say we couldn't do it. I'm asking if that's how you want to pay the bill.
But that's what you said you were gonna do. It was your
But you're
suggestion.
And I, there's no reason I can't, there's no reason we can't do it. My question is, do you or do you not want to pay this out of general fund? That's what's on the
That's
agenda.
not-
Watch this. Watch, this is.
I didn't
this-
ask you whether it was. I'm asking you, do you want it to or not? This is Meals on Wheels for dogs funding. Mr. Franklin will present bills from veterinary clinic for animals treated for Meals on Wheels for dogs. So Mr. Franklin, you asked for this to be on the agenda.
Right.
Do you want to make a motion to pay this out of the general fund?
You said, Mayor, that
Yes or no?
watch this. You,
Then why is it on?
Why have you not did what you said you was gonna do?
That's what-
See, you're trying to always put the blame on somebody else, but you sit at this table and said to Ms. Ford and that you would get in contact with those people who could possibly donate to pay the bill. Now you're trying to make it like, well, we can pay it out of general fund, but if somebody's willing to donate, if you had only contacted those people, you could have sat at the front of this table and said, well, I contacted those people and they said that they were not able to do it or they were able to do it. But see, now you're trying to make it seem like, yeah, but you're trying to make it seem like it's something that we don't want to do. Don't do that, Mayor. And you always hollering, y'all making a political statement. That's you. You're guilty of that because you always try to make it seem like we're not, but you sit at the front of the table and agree to contact people. Now you're saying why she didn't do it because you agreed to do it. That's why she didn't do it.
There's no reason why we can't both do it. All I'm saying is it was put on the agenda. I want to make sure I understand that you want to pay the bill, but you want to pay the bill out of private funds that I'm able to collect from either at least those two individuals or others. Is that the sentiment? Is that what I'm getting from the council?
I think there's a gate issue that needs to be addressed. And the city attorney is here. I intentionally waited until he came back. Whose bills are these?
Mr. Franklin put it on the agenda.
it's Meals on Wheels, but she had been picking up dogs. The people from the city would contact her and she'd pick up dogs from Walmart, out of the neighborhood, vicious dogs or whatever. And a couple of dogs I know that she's picked up out of the neighborhood. So she's providing, when they call animal control, when the police department call animal control, they call her. And she responds and she takes care of the dogs.
Okay, so as I understand it, the debt is owed by a private organization for some work that they've done, and it is uncontracted with the city. So as I understand it, if we pay somebody else's bills, it would be a donation,
That's correct.
since they don't have, which we would be prohibited from doing. It wouldn't matter whether it was from our general fund or somebody made a donation to the city. Once it goes through the city coffers, it becomes a donation if we spend it on a private organization's bill. And unless they have a contract with the city, we cannot pay their bill, is the way I understand it. So I think it's a moot point.
Yes. Mayor and Mr. Ethel, you're right. But Mayor, you said to us that you would take care of this issue. And Mr. Ethel, you're absolutely right. But Mayor, you have entered into a whole lot of contracts that we had not approved around this table. And you said that you would take care of it. You told us that. So I presented and once you got what you wanted out of it with us passing the thing with Kathy Bissell, once we got that done, you assured us. Am I right, Ms. Ford? Ms. Crockett, he assures, and Ms. Davis, he assures that I would take care of this. And here we are. Again, we got folks that we do business with that have done work for the city. We gave them their check already. They got their check and the job still ain't done. That's this kind of business that we running. So, I think that Mayor, I would hope that you could sit down with Ms. Galloway and come to a solution. Or can you get a contract or something? Because she's not receiving money. She's wants you to pay the vet bill for dogs that in the city. So can you get with her, get a contract going so we can approve something to at least get something? City attorney, you better can deal with that legally.
Discussion. What is the issue? Is it the vet bill or is it food?
It's the vet bill.
Vet bill.
Because when you call her about a dog, she's right there.
Well, the city can't do donations. The city can, as it has in the past relating to the Boys and Girls Club, as it has related to other entities. The city can enter into a contract that's approved by the city council to do business with somebody to do something that the city has legal authority to do.
Okay.
And thereby paying for that issue. If the city had a contract with them to pick up dogs and to take them to the vet and et cetera, the city could thereby pay for the veterinary bill. if it was proved in that manner, but it had to be a formal contract. Because city has the right to pick up dogs, to euthanize them, to take them to the vets and all those things under the law. But there would have to be a formalized contract to do so.
Mayor, can you get with the Ms. Galloway and see, can you all work on a contract so we can possibly help her with the cost? Because when you call animal control, we still getting the guy at the landfill, the deputy director of the landfill, we get him, he said he can't pick up no dogs.
Well, the city would have to do a formal contract, and if it's gonna be over $7,500, you'd have to bid it. But I just want to bring that to you all's attention related to it, to the extent the city wants to get into that.
Yes, sir. You know, the mayor, I was going for $49.50.
Then again, while the council is free to make the appropriation, it still be slowed into the mayor's office as to who to contract with and whether to even enter into a contract.
Anything else on that issue? Anything that is about that issue,
So-
the vet.
Will you get in touch with Ms. Galloway?
I speak with her almost every day or text. or
So we're not about that. We talking about, can you get with her?
Yes.
And by the next meeting, we had this on a regular scheduled meeting to see did you come with a contract or something? So
I'm not gonna put it on every agenda.
no,
If you're leaving it up to me, because we have a lot of business to take care of, but I've already spoken with her about the possibility of contract for services.
So-
As Mr. Valley, Mr. Edley, I think Mr. Edley just mentioned it.
Mhm.
And also in the context of the veterinary bills, and pretty much echoed what they were saying about it. As far as private donations, they can certainly pay the bills. So I'll reach out to them again. And I'm sorry if I did not do that quickly enough, but I will do that again. Meanwhile, it seemed to me that Mr. Franklin was going to ask the city to pay the bill, but you're not. Is that right? You're just asking for me to contact private officials to pay it and then to examine a contract for services with them for the city. Is that how I understand your request?
I didn't ask you to pay it out of general funds. I asked you, we had an agreement. Walmart the manager of Walmart has been waiting on you. She just texted me. She has been waiting on you. She said she's called Helen Halber. She's called you. You have not
How
responded.
about you send me her phone number right now?
You should have it.
I don't. How about you send me her phone number? I don't have it in my cell phone. And then I'll call her tonight. How about that?
I'm gonna send it to you.
How about that?
But I mean,
Will that satisfy you?
it's not satisfying me.
Yes or no? Is that what you want me to do? Because we're spending a lot of time on this. I'll be glad to call her.
To do what's best for
Again.
this city, like mismanaged city funds. That's what you keep doing.
Mr. Franklin. I asked you a question. You want me to contact the person you're going to send to me about Walmart?
Check your
Hang-
phone. We don't have to discuss
hang
it.
back.
Check your phone. You got the
Mm.
contact information. Call the lady at Walmart. I just sent it to you.
Oh, good. Thank you. I don't have any record of her trying to contact us,
Do
but
I
that
need-
doesn't mean we can't.
Do I need to call the point?
That doesn't mean we can't contact her. So I'll call her tonight if you've sent me that contact information and follow up. The next issue on the agenda is invoice for professional tree services. Again, Mr. Franklin.
Yes, this invoice, for, professional tree service, those people are waiting to be paid on the service they have rendered. You know, this is one of the things that you said, like Meals on Wheels, you said that this is a contract you entered in with these people, and they have not been paid. But like the hole down the street, the folks got paid Friday and the hole is not finished. You still got mud down there. They got their check on Friday, but these people still have to wait. My thing is, you study doing business under $5,000 and the taxpayers have to suffer with this. My thing is, these people have done the work. They've done a job and they're waiting to get paid. So, Mr. Valley, Professional Tree Services was wanting to pick up a payment. I mean, I don't know what legally, whatever they need to do, but they have not been paid. They performed a job. The mayor told them to go cut a tree at somebody's house, and they did. And the mayor has decided he don't want to pay them.
There are two questions. One, has payment been authorized by the mayor? and two, whether it's been approved by the city council previously. The mayor has exclusive right to enter the contracts and make all purchase. Nobody can do that. If the mayor is saying that he has not approved it, has not authorized it, and will not authorize it, then the only remedy would be for them to seek other action, because if he does not approve it. I'm not saying he hasn't. You haven't discussed it with me. Yes, sir. What's your other question?
The other question would be if they perform the work itself that they claim they had an agreement to do.
That's the most salient question. You can't get paid until you perform everything.
Well, I think we have an invoice from,
I guess the question is, what is the status? Did they perform the work? Was there an agreement to do the work? Those things, and the mayor's the only person can answer those questions.
Well, it's been, an attorney has been contacted to represent them. So I'm reluctant to discuss anything
Okay.
in a public meeting about it. But the bottom line is, if someone hasn't performed the work they agreed to do, I don't believe that the city should be required to do the part they agreed to do. And whether they agreed to do it or not is also a question in many cases, and probably this one. But even if there was an understanding and an agreement and it was documented, the party doing the work still has to complete the work to the satisfaction of the person doing the payment. And this case, the entity would be the city. And I will say that I personally drove over there and inspected the premises and spoke to people and so forth. That's about all I feel comfortable saying.
yes, sir.
Is that, well, again, I don't really want to speak too much to it because there's some legal issues involved now. And I'd really want an attorney to advise me, but I'm pretty confident that it was the right thing to do on behalf of the taxpayers of the city.
Well, I just have this question here. You really, it says this was to Jarvis Smith, the representative for the city of Helena-West. It says, I will cut limbs that are already broken from the tree, from the ditch belonging to the city of Helena-West. I will cut the limbs that are broken out of the same tree and said there's larger to another tree that belongs to the residents that live on Kentucky Street. It says, I will haul off everything I could per our agreement, Jarvis Smith, representative for the city of Helena-West Helena. So my thing is, how is he the representative for Helena-West Helena in human resource? How is he authorized to give somebody a job or some work when he's human resource? Is he human resource or is he what this card says, Jarvis Smith Community Connect? Is that what he does here? It's a card here. So how can he be Community Connect when we don't even have a Community Connect? But you say human resource. This is a business card that your office made from, it says Jarvis Smith with the city logo on it, and it says 714, excuse me, 0732 Jarvis Smith at Helena-West Helena.us, 226 Perry Street, Post Office Box, whatever, West Helena, Helena, Arkansas. So I'm trying to figure out, what is he? Is he human resource? Because this Community Connect, we don't even have that in the budget. So how can he authorize somebody else to do a job and you the mayor? So you sitting him around,
Telling an answer, you just gonna talk.
I'm just telling you what I got. I mean, this is the email that your office sent us. All this is what we got. So I mean, I'm just asking because you.
What's your question?
What you gonna do with this? Because you're a train wreck. You got Jarvis Smith, your human resource Community Connect. What is he? Then you got these. Jarvis, your representative told somebody to cut some trees down. This not you. Your representative. You sent this person out to get some limbs cut out somebody's yard. So that's your representative. Just like you had your representative take that excavator over there and do some work at the city. And so like this, what are you gonna do with this payment? Forget all that. This is what you do. The payment, these people need to be paid. Have you not reached out to these? Mr. Bailey, and figure out what you're gonna do with this. Cause they need to be paid. They say they complete work.
So the question is, what?
You're the CEO.
What's your question?
Are you going to pay the people?
The work was not performed as agreed for the city. They have not been paid. The invoice you reference was written by the vendor. And I don't recognize it to what you described as any kind of a legitimate invoice. So I'm not sure that, so therefore there isn't anything else that you said in your speech that's legitimate. But that's the answer to your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you're right.
So you also have something on here about Miss Mayweather, I believe. You want to discuss that? This is on the agenda. Are you talking about, you're talking about the one on Perry Street or the one on Kentucky Street? Because there are two issues. I'm not aware where Mr. Bailey doing.
Miss Mayweather is also, Miss Mayweather is requesting that about her fence being damaged due to Patrick Carter using the city's excavator back there to cut limbs down. That we paid him again. The Jarvis, I saw this with my eyes. Jarvis, the Community Connect person, cut some limbs, damaged her fence. The limbs are still back there. They have not finished the job. We have already paid Carcourt to do the job. You have anyway. So she's trying to say, are you all gonna pay for the damage on her fence? Because back there in that ditch, Mr. St. Columbus, if you remember, that ditch belongs to Helena Improvement District that you serve on. That ditch that runs back there. We went back there touching Helena Improvement stuff, and we damaged their fence because we damaged this lady's fence because we cut down some trees. We damaged somebody's car. It's a lot, man. It's a lot of this stuff you entangled with. It's just a lot.
Mr. Franklin, do you have a question?
Have you got Ms. Bailey to figure out, are you gonna pay for her fence? And are you gonna get the guy that you had back there cutting them limbs, are they gonna remove the limbs from out of the ditch off her fence?
The circumstances that you describe are the sort of things that you describe in court or in claim and that sort of thing. So I don't know that if the question is, am I going to pay for damages? I guess it'll have to be determined that the city is guilty in some form or fashion of causing those damages. So I don't really have an answer because I haven't seen any evidence, at least not as of yet, that the city is liable for those damages. So you're getting into legal territory, which is really the city attorney's purview, not mine.
Mayor, if I can, I like the fact that you always defer to Mr. Valley when you the one sent them folks.
Is it a legal question?
You sent them people over there.
No.
You didn't enter a contract, and we can't be here all night. You sent Patrick Carter them over there. You sent them over there, and the other guy, Mr. Jackson, sent them over there. You sent two different people over there to get limbs up, to cut it up. And I told you, Mr. St. Columbia went out there. He knows about it. That ditch belongs to Helena Improvement. You messed up her fence because you sent somebody there because you wanted some of your friends to make some quick cash and you sent them out there. Somebody's car got damaged. You let somebody use the excavator that we hadn't even authorized you to spend to buy. You and damage the woman's fence, damage somebody's car that you didn't pay for. It's like, come on, I'm not trying to pick the blame at you.
Mr. Franklin,
you have
there are many
many
allegations in your comment.
To it.
No, Mr. Franklin, there are many allegations against the city.
The city's excavator. So
Mr. Franklin,
let's be fair. Patrick Carter did not use the city's equipment to cut that stuff down. Yes or no?
Mr. Franklin,
Mr. Mayor, we're asking you a question. City equipment was
you need
used.
to address your remarks to the city attorney.
He didn't authorize anybody.
Well, but if this is a matter of,
It's okay.
if this is a matter of fact, it'll be established in court. If that's where it goes.
City equipment down there on Helena Improvement.
That's right. You can't say one fact and then make people believe all the other things you say are true.
I'm not the only
There are a
person.
lot of comments that you made in there that are comments of fact that'll have to be established by other people. Those are legal liability issues. I'm not aware that any of those are 90% of those facts that you stated, so-called facts you stated, have been established as facts. Until they are, I'm not going to make any comments on anything because I'm not aware, and it hasn't been established to me in any documentation or in any other form or fashion that the city is liable for any damages at all. If that changes, then I'll consult our city attorney. That's what our city attorney is. It's one of his roles. So I'm not going to comment on the rest of that.
To the extent that it is a legal matter relating to someone petitioning suing, I would advise both of you all to cease this conversation relating to any potential lawsuit. I haven't received any documents relating to it. I hear your allegations, Mr. Franklin. I have not received anything in writing relating to the allegation of offense or misuse of city equipment or any of that. And I received some limited, I received the packet, what was in the packet relating to the other issue relating to the tree cutting. And that's all the information I have on it. So if there's a retained attorney, then we probably should cease these discussions because anything that we say will be on video, YouTube, and available for them to look at.
What, and I just, right, Mayor, if you will, can you please tell the body what is Mr. Smith's job title? So we can understand. The door said he's human resource and this card says something different. Can you please tell us what, for the listening audience to see where their tax dollars go, what is Mr. Smith's job title for the city of Helena-West, please?
I'm more than happy to. Jarvis Smith was hired as in human resources and created a program called Community Connect, which is an external human resources program to try and help connect people in the community with jobs in the community for both our employers as well as the employees. And one of the human resource programs that he administered was the summer, very successful and first in a long time, summer youth program, which you're familiar with, and you are. You're not familiar with the summer youth program? And it was very successful, and he deserves a lot of praise for the hard work he did. 45 or 48, I can't remember exactly the number of young people in our area who were employed by that. So Community Connect is the name that River City Community Connect is the name we came up for projects. It's external human resources to help unemployed and underemployed people find jobs here in the city with employers who are trying to hire. And it's been very, very successful. He also works on special projects and different things that come up, but those are his primary duties. And it is in the budget. And he also represents us before the Arkansas Workforce boards and so forth.
He said he represents Arkansas Workforce.
He represents the city and interacts with them on our behalf, Arkansas Workforce.
I don't understand it. This is what I mean, does he sit on a board or what? But what I wanted to ask is that the funds to employ these young people are federal funds that are disseminated through a program operated by Mr. Jack Crumble. Is that correct?
Yes.
Does the city receive any monies that help with Mr. what's his name? Mr. Smith's salary since he's doing this external work?
I don't consider it external work because these.
You said the program was
are you gonna,
external.
do you want me to answer the question?
Now, I'll just clear up what you said because you said
The answer to the question is,
an external program.
the answer to your question is, it's an external program in terms of the employers. The summer youth program put young people to work for our city and paid them a very good hourly wage so that they could work in our fire department, our street. They mowed grass, they weed eated, they painted things. They did all of those kinds of things. They worked in our fire department. Chief Robert Brown, who himself was a product of a summer youth program many years ago, was a very good mentor to him. It's an excellent program. And yes, Mr. Crumley, who I've thanked numerous times, was very much a part of this.
I know because I administered the program for over 20 years and was employed by the agency that did it. So those are federal funds, and there was a salary that went along with that. Just curious.
Well, if you know so much about it, I would refer you to Mr. Crumley to answer those questions. Mr.
You
Mr.
presented
Mr.
it, and I'm
Mr.
talking to you, so that's why, that's.
But
asking
the
for
fact,
that.
he was the city's, he's the person that recruited the young people. He's the person that helped place the young people. And they helped our city quite a bit, and our city government,
Seems like a son.
and it helped the young people, more importantly, even more. So I think all of the people involved in that program, including Mr. Smith, who was the one who coordinated it in our area and for the city, did an excellent job, and they're to be commended for that.
I mean,
Ms. Crockett.
it's a very good program, and he could coordinate it. I'm just wondering, since he coordinated, was that a in-kind service from the city? That's why I asked, was there in-kind service from to the program from the city, or were you compensated? Was the city compensated for him doing this?
The city was not compensated for him doing this. The city,
Looks like in-kind you worked, he was like a site supervisor or something. Is that what you're
he,
saying?
he was the he was the contact for the city of Helena-West. They coordinated with the program to recruit the 40, I think it was 48 young people here, and got them placed in key positions for the city. And also helped with supervision, and, you know, he drove many times. He had to drive to Little Rock to pick up their paychecks and get them delivered. And as you can imagine, these young people wanted to get their paychecks, and he went to a lot of trouble. And he did an excellent job, and I'm very proud of.
That's not his responsibility.
Yes, it is.
So, but he's
Yeah.
human resource, but he's.
And that's human resources, and you're
So-
wrong. I'm sorry. But, and I'm very proud of that. And you should be too, Ms. Crockett.
Did he get paid a separate check? I think this is what Ms. Ford was trying to get to. Did the city, was he still on city payroll when he did this, or did he get a separate check from the program that he was over? So was he being paid on both ends?
Ms. Crockett,
Because no, Mr. Mayor.
I'm trying to answer.
Now, let me ask you, finish my question, because I've asked for this information over and over again. Nobody has ever, I asked, could somebody give me the information to the description of his job title, his job title and the description of his job. Nobody has ever gave that. I asked that I could get the payroll to see the checks that have been printed so that I could see if he had been paid twice. Nobody ever gave me that. So I'm just wondering, is it something that somebody's trying to cover up or what? If he has been paid, if he was paid by the city and then paid by them, that's illegal because he was on city time working to get paid from another job. So why we can't get that? Why I can't get that information? Because I asked for it, and I've asked for it. It's been over a month since I asked for it, and no one has given it to me. Your turn.
Your question did anybody more than whatever the city was paying to do his job for the city?
Yes.
And I would direct you to the program. I'm not aware of him being paid anything. All I know is the city paid him his usual salary. He did an excellent job.
I'm not saying that he, don't try to make it seem like I'm not saying that he didn't do an excellent job. I'm just, we have something in place that they cannot be paid twice. The same reason you interrupt everybody else. See how I feel? Do you see how I feel? I'm trying to ask the question. Yeah, Mr. Mayor,
Your question is, I'm not aware of him receiving. any-
you are not aware of anything, Mayor.
I'm trying to
that
answer
you
your
did.
question. You're trying to destroy and harm somebody's character.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying, no,
Evidence.
no. I asked the question. I did not say one
You're
time
trying to
that he knew it. No,
This-
on his, I am not trying, because I want to know if the city don't pay. What?
You're alleging, you said it's against the law,
Said the question.
and I answered it.
I didn't say one time that he was being paid. I asked why
You
we
said-
couldn't get the information.
I just gave you the information.
No, I want it in writing because what you said don't mean beans or nothing. You have not told the truth since you've been here 4 years.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So why are you asking me the question?
Because I want the answer.
I just gave it to you.
No, my question is why I can't.
I
don't
just
want
gave you
to-
the answer.
I don't want you to answer the question.
Well, who do you want to answer it?
I want some Black and white, I want a piece of
And
paper.
who do you want it from?
whoever is overpaying payroll and whoever was over that program.
And who is-
all of-
Who pays payroll?
Who?
Who pays payroll?
The city treasurer, but I've asked for this.
So have you asked the city treasurer?
Wait, cause see, you try to say that we do a political thing. You sitting up there right
Ms.
now.
Crockett, you're trying to destroy somebody's name.
I'm talking, the information that I have been asking for over a month. Never do we ever get anything we want to say. You sit at the front of the table when we talk and be saying stuff, you sit up there giggling like you're in the, like all of this is funny to me because I'm gonna do what I wanna do anyway. It has been seen and heard on the thing. Why do you sit up there looking and grinning when people call you and ask you questions? Then all you do is holler, Ms. Crockett, I answered your question. I don't want an answer from you. I want it in black and white.
You want the treasurer to answer your question?
I want it in black and white.
Who do you want to answer your
Ain't
question?
nobody got to answer my question that they give it to me on paper. You don't understand?
Who is they?
Whoever prints the checks, whoever signs the check.
So you want Ms. Crockett, you want who? Who would you accept?
Who do you get it from?
Who would you accept an
Who
answer?
do you get it from?
Who do I get what from?
It's in black and white.
Who do I, so
Accept it from you if it's in black and white.
you want me to email you? What's your,
I want you to
what's your email?
email.
You don't have email?
No, I don't.
The city can give you an
I
email.
don't want the city to give me anything.
So you don't want an email.
I don't know.
So what do you want?
See, you already, I don't want the.
I'm
city to
asking you,
give me
how do you
anything.
want it? You want us
I
to
want
mail
you
it to
Print
you?
it out on some paper.
Okay,
Put it in my mailbox and I'll come here.
okay. And you want it from me in writing?
I want
And you want it to me in
I want
writing?
it- Wait, let me explain to you what I want. I want to see the check ledger, where the checks have been printed, who has been paid, what they were paid for, when they were paid, and I want to see, since you said this was part of his job, I want, since the city was doing the helping with the program, I want to see who was paid for helping with the program. I want the information to see if Mr. Franklin got a check. I want to see Mr. Franklin, Christopher Franklin, receive a check from whatever you said the name of the program is, that Mr. Job Smith did so well. I'm asking that if his pay, I've asked over a month, over 2 months, to give me his job, the title, his job title, and the description of his job. I can never get that. I don't know what it is, but I'm asking again. So do I need to come down here and tell Miss Sandy, tell Mr. Turner, tell Mr. Smith, tell Miss Halbert, who do I need to get this information from? Okay, Mr. Bath.
Legally, all three of them have a duty to provide it to you.
But I have been asking for over a month and I have not received this.
You're asking what? His job description, his title, and what else?
The check ledger,
The check ledger of his paychecks?
it's not just him, anybody that's been paid in the city. It's not a personal thing with Mr. Smith.
You want a copy of all the
Oh my gosh,
paychecks?
you.
How about this?
I guess.
Let me make a suggestion, Ms. Crockett. Would you give us in writing exactly what you're asking?
I've given
So
it
we can
before.
provide
I've
it to
given it
you.
before, and
Because
nobody
every
has-
time I ask you what it is your question is, you change
No, I
what your
have not.
question is.
No, I have not.
So
I
would,
have been
if-
asking the
if you-
same question for over 6
and I've
weeks.
answered
No,
it
you have not.
about 7 different ways.
You have not
So-
answered it because I have not received it in black and white. You can sit there all day, Mayor, and say this over and over again and make people think that you are telling the truth and that you're answering my question. You are not answering my question.
So
You
why-
don't understand?
So why would you object to putting it in writing in black and white?
I've already done that.
Okay, well, I haven't seen that.
Well, you don't see
And if,
nothing that you
and
tell it.
would you mind giving me a copy of that?
Don't worry about it. I'll just be down here tomorrow.
If you will get me a copy
gonna get
of
you a
what
copy
you
of
put in
that.
black and white, I'll make sure
No,
you
don't
get
worry.
the answer that or the information that you requested, which will hopefully answer the question. And just for the public to know, I'm not aware of anything other than a lot of good things that came out of that program. All right. So the next thing on the agenda
You got something?
is Arkansas Street, St. Francis Street truck traffic. Ms. Ford, you're recognized.
Co-counsel, we talked about this several weeks ago about the traffic and the problems with the Arkansas Street. And now I've noticed some on Bisco Street. I know that harvest season is almost over with, but this happens every year. Sunday, the church, the people, they couldn't get to the church because they were blocked in. I went down yesterday, was a truck that was stuck on the tracks there on St. Francis Street. I did video that, but I talked with Mr. and the city attorney did give us an update last week that the municipal league and their legal status with the suit, the pending suit. But I contacted Mr. John Edwards, and because I had asked that we do some brainstorming on what things could be done. I think I mentioned something about a truck route or whatever. And he responded, he just said that he's reviewing that lawsuit, copies of it, and that the first order of business is to know what is the commitment of Helena financially and otherwise to come up with match dollars to go with any grants that can be found. And solutions can be had, but we have to know what we have to work with. And that sounds encouraging to me. And I hope that we can talk about what we'd like to see or whatever, because this problem is not going away. It seems like it happens every season. And I travel Bisco maybe 3 round trips per day and going north, and the traffic coming south, and those trucks are headed south in that right lane, and you have to get over almost in the yellow lines to get by them, and your meeting car, it can be fatal. Or, suppose an emergency vehicle was behind me, I can't get over because I'm meeting oncoming traffic. So I hope that we would keep that in mind, and that we would look at trying to come up with something that can help that area. That's a viable area, and a lot can happen down there. But please consider and something that we can do down there, and think about it and see what we can do. And I will still continue to talk with Mr. Edwards.
Since it's something, I'll just remind the council, back maybe 3 years ago now, the ordinance that deals with truck traffic and large trucks we attempted to enforce it. First, you have to post the signs, so we had them posted. We enforced the law. The Consolidated Grain and Seed sued the city in federal court for enforcing the law. The federal judge or his staff notified the municipal league and our legal representatives that the ordinance in question regarding heavy truck traffic in West Helena was outdated, outmoded, and not fit for the times, and recommended that we not pursue it. Instead, that we repeal the ordinance and rewrite the ordinance in a more modern way that reflects a more modern solution to those problems. And so the municipal league attorney and Mr. Valley met, and we had a meeting here. And the council did repeal the ordinance per their recommendation. And since that time, they have been working on a resolution for a new ordinance. One of the many options is to create a bonded road system, some of the other things that the municipal league mentioned. But the council still has to approve a new ordinance for Arkansas Street and any other street in the city when it comes to heavy truck traffic after repealing the one that we did use. Until that time, there's no ordinance no specific ordinance anyway. However, Reverend Robinson will call, as he did Sunday, when this time of the year, truck traffic, as Ms. Ford did a very good job of explaining, blocks traffic to the church and so forth. And so at his request, I called the chief, and he sent some folks down there, and they put cones. I don't know if they put the cones out or who, but they directed traffic away from the church so that people could get in and out and park. But it is a big problem. It's something we've struggled with on Arkansas Street particularly for years. And I agree with you, Ms. Ford. Having said that, Mr. Valley, I don't know if you want to add to anything or.
No, Mayor, that's concise, rendition of what the status is.
I would just like to say this, because for some reason, Mayor, you want to put the blame on everybody. But I want the record to reflect that the city treasurer does not pay bills. The city treasurer's job is to keep the books balanced. He does not pay bills. So you can quit acting like he didn't pay the taxes, he didn't pay this. He don't pay bills. That's not his job.
And so that is relative to what?
To you saying, who do I want you to get that, all of that information from? It wouldn't come
So
from the
you
city
don't
treasurer.
want city treasurer.
No, he don't pay the bill.
And you're going to put that in writing and get that to us?
Man, leave me alone, because it's something wrong.
I'm
with you.
just, you
It's
want
something really wrong with
you
you.
want an answer.
I put it
you
in
want an answer
writing
in
and
black
it
and
didn't, I
white.
put it in writing and it didn't do any good.
Well,
So
I haven't seen it.
in your office, whatever is
Ms. Crockett.
clever for the mayor,
Ms.
that's the
Crockett,
only thing
I
that
haven't,
happened.
I haven't seen
Don't
it.
care, well, you need to talk to
So,
the people
and you can
that's
get me,
employed in your
well, it
office.
shouldn't be a problem to get me a copy of whatever.
Can't
it
nobody
is.
even come to your office. People come to your office and they lie from the time you get there that you ain't in there,
Ms.
and you can be looking at you. And you busy, you on the phone, you don't, Mr. Smith. So you need to, don't try to make it seem like you gonna do something, cause you lied to Miss Ford, you lied to Miss Davis, and you just sit up there and constantly take and go around the corner when you could have went right straight through the door and answered the question. You trying to make it
I did
seem like
answer the question.
you know who you need to get the information
Several
from.
times.
You know who you need to get the information from. If not, you need to resign today.
You said you didn't accept the answer. You wanted it.
No, I want it in writing,
Okay,
in typing or whatever
I
you.
got you. I got
Okay,
it.
yeah,
And
that's what you
and you're
said. Now
willing-
you'll come back to you.
And you're willing to give me the question in writing.
No, I'm not
copy
willing to
of it.
give you anything, because that's public record. I come down here and give it to, can give it to me.
If you give it to me.
I'm not gonna give it anything to
Crockett,
you,
if you
so
can't
I'm
give
not
it-
gonna give anything to you,
Ms.
so you
Crockett,
can
if you
leave
can't
that
give it to
alone.
me in writing what you
You won't
need,
get
then
nothing
how
from
do you
me in
expect
writing.
anybody to get it to you?
I'm not giving you anything, because you would so
Then why are
conveniently
you-
lose it.
Ms.
You-
Crockett,
I gave it to the lady that will sit at your front desk, your administrative assistants, but nobody has seen it. That's where it was left at, but nobody else has seen it. Things so conveniently disappear when it's not anything you
So
want.
could you give
So
me a
don't worry
copy?
about it.
Could you give me a copy of it?
I'm not getting, no, can't nobody see you? I'm gonna give you something.
Ms. Crockett, I saw.
It's the only time I see you sitting at this
I have,
table.
I have an
with you
open.
Grinning now. You don't got no open door policy,
open
so
door.
quit.
I saw people today didn't have appointments, so that's not true. You're saying this because you're on the radio and on Zoom. None of that's true.
Preach,
And
preach.
you know it. So we've dealt with most of the issues. Code enforcement update, the computers aren't working in code. We're trying to get the software, the computer fixed so we can print out a report. Hopefully we'll have that for you Tuesday. I'll hopefully have it resolved without having to buy another computer. And so. And I can, now that she's been here a while, I'll ask her to attend as well.
And are we hiring
I'm sorry.
anyone else?
I can't really comment on the status of where that is because it's a personnel issue. We could go into executive session if you wanted. But they're
About
privacy.
hiring someone else?
We advertised for another position and I can't really go into much more than that because of where it is in the process. There are some legal issues involved that deal with privacy. I'd be
That
more
the
than
fact
happy to
that,
go
we
into
hired
executive
someone else, I don't
session.
understand what you're saying.
I just told you, we posted it. And
No, you
yes,
didn't
we
say that. You
interviewed.
said you couldn't discuss it.
I said, no, I said, we are trying to hire somebody else, but it's in the middle of that process and I can't discuss some of the issues related to it in public because they're privacy issues. So
Man,
where it is in that process, I can't really talk to right now publicly,
May I
but I'd be
ask-
more than happy to talk to you about it in an executive session.
That's not what I asked you. I just asked you where you hired someone
And I-
else
I
and you
said
went
yes.
on way out there.
And I said, yes, we are in the process of hiring somebody else, but I can't tell you anything else about it. So
Just a practical question, just to further us in her question. Are you in the process of hiring one or two people? Because I think the budget called for three. You have one.
two at this time,
So you're hiring two additional people. at this-
trying to.
Trying to.
No, not two, two period people, period.
You have one here. you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
one additional,
Okay, one additional.
but that was advertised at the same time. The second position is in a different status legally, and that's all I can say right now.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, Ms. Davis, the mayor did hire two people. The other person that didn't show up for the job. So two people were hired
That's,
for the job.
Mr. Franklin, I can't speak to
the-
this, Ms.
the-
Valley. He's trying to get me to speak on matters that
I'm
could
just saying,
become
but you-
privacy
you
issues,
hired two- you hired
and they're not
two.
actually accurate either. So
I-
he's
That's
not,
correct in
No, no.
the sense
So,
of,
I'm correct, city attorney?
I said the mayor's correct in the sense that he can't speak on
Right.
the hiring man.
So two people
Currently,
hired.
for the record, currently there's one code enforcement officer and the city has advertised for a second. And that's somewhere in the process between advertising and hiring, somewhere in between there.
I was, right, yes.
Right, but I was just playing for the record.
I understand that, but they had hired two people at the time. And because when I came over here to City Hall, there was a lady back there that she was trying to, but never mind.
I understand, but was
Yes, sir.
just guarded about privacy since it's the new person has not
we're not
been.
gonna deal with conflict ordinance.
No, it doesn't seem they're gonna deal with conflict ordinance. I made the copies for Riggs, but it doesn't seem like they're gonna deal with Riggs either.
Is there anything else?
No, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do another job. So, are there any other business coming for the council at this time? If not, motion to adjourn. Nope. All right, no further business meeting adjourned. Do you have a copy of this so you can review it? I have it timely.